Confidence is not built by trying to impress someone. It is built by understanding them at a deeper human level. And a man who truly understands a woman's emotional rhythm naturally becomes someone she feels drawn to. And he isn't stressed about perfection because he knows presence is far more powerful than pressure. And when he studies her emotions, her signals, and the small details she rarely speaks out loud, everything begins to shift. And women respond to emotional intelligence because it makes them feel safe, valued, and deeply considered. And knowledge becomes confidence when it is carried with empathy instead of ego or insecurity. And when a man holds that kind of grounded confidence, a woman naturally relaxes into trust with him. And this trust opens the door to communication, connection, and the kind of comfort that forms the foundation of real intimacy. And understanding the different forms of feminine pleasure becomes a way of understanding her, not just her body. And that understanding becomes the key that transforms ordinary moments into meaningful experiences. And a man who learns calmly, listens intentionally, and leads gently becomes unforgettable without trying. And his confidence is not loud or aggressive. It is steady, patient, and rooted in emotional awareness. And he understands that the female experience is not about techniques, but about how she feels in his presence. And her body responds to the energy he brings. Calmness creates openness. Pressure creates resistance. And when he shows that he respects her pace and values her comfort, she feels emotionally free around him. And this freedom allows deeper connection, deeper trust, and deeper expressions of intimacy to grow. And confidence built on knowledge helps him guide moments with clarity instead of guesswork or hesitation. And it turns him into a partner who creates emotional alignment instead of uncertainty or fear. And every woman desires a man who makes her feel understood without needing constant explanation. And every man becomes powerful when he realizes that true confidence comes from understanding, not performance. Most men underestimate how powerful communication becomes when it is rooted in emotional clarity and genuine curiosity, and women do. Not open up through pressure. They open up when they feel heard, understood, and emotionally respected. And when a man learns to ask questions without ego, she feels safe enough to express her real desires and real needs. And this level of communication builds trust. And trust is the foundation of every deeper form of intimacy. And a woman's confidence grows when she knows she will not be judged, misunderstood, or dismissed. And a man's leadership grows when he listens with intention instead of assuming he already knows everything. And communication becomes the bridge that transforms confusion into connection and hesitation into confidence. And the more he pays attention to what she says, how she says it, and what she avoids saying, the more aligned they become. And speaking openly stops feeling awkward because they are no longer hiding behind silent certainty. And this emotional transparency creates a connection more powerful than any technique or strategy. And when communication becomes natural, her body, mind, and emotions move in harmony instead of conflict. And a woman's deeper responses awaken when she feels a man truly understands her inner world. And she relaxes because she knows he cares about her comfort as much as the moment itself. And he understands that real intimacy is shaped by words, reassurance, intention, and emotional presence. And talking about what she enjoys does not ruin the moment. It amplifies it by removing guesswork and anxiety. And it allows both partners to understand each other without fear of crossing boundaries or missing signals. And this creates a shared rhythm where both feel seen, valued, and emotionally synchronized. And a man who communicates with empathy becomes unforgettable because he respects her feelings as much as her body. And he becomes the kind of partner she trusts because he leads with emotional intelligence and genuine care. The combination of interest, clarity, and emotional presence becomes the most powerful aphrodisiac she will ever feel. Emotional safety is the quiet force that turns connection into something meaningful and unforgettable. And when a woman feels emotionally protected, her guard lowers and her authentic self begins to emerge. And she no longer worries about judgment or criticism because she senses real respect in his presence. And a man who leads with patience instead of pressure becomes someone she can trust without hesitation. And this trust allows her to relax into the moment rather than performing or pretending. And her emotions begin to align naturally because there is no fear, no rush, and no expectation. And she feels valued not for what she gives, but for who she is when she feels safe. And that kind of emotional grounding awakens responses that come from sincerity instead of stress. And safety becomes the emotional environment where deeper connection begins and deeper intimacy grows. And it is the difference between a moment that feels forced and a moment that feels beautifully natural. And a man who understands emotional safety does not rely on intensity. He relies on consistency and presence. And he knows that a calm voice, gentle reassurance, and steady energy create comfort she rarely experiences. And she opens up emotionally because she senses he will never use her vulnerability against her. And her trust grows because he shows that her feelings matter just as much as the experience itself. And when he removes pressure, she gains the freedom to express what she genuinely wants, and her emotions deepen because she feels supported instead of evaluated or compared. And he becomes the person who brings her peace instead of tension, clarity instead of confusion. And this emotional reliability encourages her to reveal the sides of herself she hides from the world. And when she feels that level of security, her emotional and physical responses begin to flourish naturally. And what grows in that space is connection rooted in safety, understanding, and emotional partnership. Real intimacy becomes powerful when both partners see it as a shared journey rather than a performance. And a man who approaches connection with teamwork instead of pressure creates moments that feel effortless and genuine. And he understands that pleasure is not about proving anything. It is about synchronizing emotions, energy, and trust. And this shift removes anxiety because both partners feel supported instead of evaluated or expected to perform. And when he focuses on understanding her instead of impressing her, he naturally becomes more confident and intuitive. And every moment becomes smoother because he is present, connected, and emotionally aware of the experience. And she feels valued because she senses he cares about the relationship, not just the outcome of the moment. And this creates a dynamic where both partners contribute emotionally, mentally, and physically with balance. And partnership transforms the experience from something mechanical into something meaningful and deeply fulfilling. And this mindset allows the relationship to grow in ways that feel mature, secure, and emotionally aligned. And a man who embraces partnership communicates openly, listens deeply, and adapts with empathy instead of ego. And he understands that the strongest moments are built on shared curiosity, not assumptions or pressure-filled expectations. And when he removes the need to perform, she feels safe enough to express what she truly desires. And this honesty builds a rhythm where both partners feel comfortable exploring without fear or hesitation. And as they grow together, communication becomes natural. Connection becomes effortless and trust becomes automatic. And she sees him as someone who leads with maturity because he values connection over competition. And his presence becomes grounding, his patience becomes reassuring, and his openness becomes transformative. And together they build an environment where teamwork replaces tension and understanding replaces uncertainty. And pleasure becomes a shared creation shaped by communication, emotional awareness, and mutual respect. And in that kind of partnership, Both partners feel valued, aligned, and capable of creating deeper connection every time.